We want to look back and see what happened. What happened? We want to see if it's destroyed. We want to see, is it true what God told us was going to happen? So we want the evidence. But that's the difference of living in evidence and living in faith. Hi, welcome back to episode 23 of the Overwhelmed to Resilient podcast. I'm Dr. Phyllis, your host. Have you ever felt stuck where you just can't move forward? Your brain is constantly racing. Your brain is just can't allow you to be present where you are. You're at work, your mind is racing. You're at home, your mind is racing. You're at your kids' rehearsals, their practices, their performances. Your mind is racing. Your mind is not there. Your mind is elsewhere. There are things you enjoy doing or you'd like to do. You have interests. But yet when you attempt to do those things, you can't enjoy them and fully be present because your mind is elsewhere. Have you ever felt that people have hurt you, situations have hurt you, and it's cut so deep that continually replays in your mind how you felt, the disappointment you felt, the despair that you felt, the triggers that you experienced of not being enough or not like, and you can't move forward because you keep looking back to see, because God had said that vengeance is his, he's the judge. There's a little part of you, maybe a bigger part of you, that's waiting to see them get theirs because the heck you've been through. So you want to see if God is a God of his word, the God of his word. You waiting to see them get theirs so then you can know I was right and they're now realize how wrong they were to have done that to you. If any of this resonates with you, today's episode is just for you. I have titled today's episode, Why It Is Important to Get Out of the Lot's Wife Mindset. In Genesis 19, we see the story in the Bible about Abraham's nephew and his family. Abraham had done everything to advocate on the part of Sodom and Gomorrah, more specifically, his nephew and his family. And you can read in actually Genesis 18 where Lot's going back and forth to advocate for his family. So God, the loving God he is, and God already knew, but God, the God he is, the only God, he's such a loving God that he loves us and he listens to our prayers. So he granted Abraham's request to spare Lot and his family. So Lot and his family hurriedly were to get out of town, get out of Sodom and Gomorrah before God destroyed it. And as Lot, his wife, and daughters were ascending the hill out of town, Lot's wife does exactly what God said not to do. He said, don't look back. She looked back and she became a pillar of salt. So she ended there. And that's why I talk about Lot's wife mindset. The reason I can talk about it is because I've been there and I have to continually pray as well, not to slip back into that. And what I call Lot's wife's mindset is continually looking back, not being present in the situation you're in, looking back to what happened before the day. There's a time and place to do review. But once you review, you got to move forward. because there are learnings, there are teachings, there are insights that can be gained through where we've been and what we've done. But after you get the lesson, after you pray on it, you get the lesson, you got to move forward. And when God tells us to let go of it, we have to let go so we can be present in the blessing that He has before us. But when I have gotten stuck in looking at situations where maybe I didn't show up exactly the way I would have wanted to if I was fully in my Christian hearted frame of mind and action, or maybe someone said something to me, or they misunderstood me, or they challenged me, or in a negative way, because there's nothing wrong with being challenged in a positive way for growth. Or maybe they spoke out about me in a negative light. They gossiped about me and it got back to me. Or again, they talked about me because I've had situations where people, as the old folks would say, have talked about me, like they said, like the old folks would say, they talk about you like you got a tail. So I've had that experience. And I also know how it is that because of the hurt, and especially when you have experienced the hurt or embarrassment on a public level, right? On a bigger scale, that you feel that embarrassment and that you want to, we're human. We want to see them get theirs. We want someone to say, we realize that that's what we were told was not true. And when I have gotten stuck there where I keep trying to look back to see if they're getting theirs, I've lost out on important time, key time to really then focus my energies on being present and enjoying what I'm in, the situation I'm in right now, and enjoy it to its fullness. And then to invest that time into where God is taking me to. There is someone who said, and it's been said a lot, and I don't remember who said it, but you can waste a lot of time in unforgiveness and vengeance, looking to try to get back at someone, retaliation to get back. So much so that it's like trying to be judge and jury. And as you stay stuck, like I have been in the past, in that I want to see them get theirs. It's not fair. They're not getting theirs. It's like you drink the poison. While you trying to plan them to get the poison, you drink the poison. And you're stuck and you're really in almost in a way, I'll just say it, you're dying on the vine of life. And so I've been there. And I have had to do deep work to realize that I may never see them get theirs. Yet I don't want any regrets. I want to live this one life that I know of in the flesh to the fullest. And I think that is a major step that you have to take, we all have to take, is that first step of saying, I no longer want to live the way I'm living now. I no longer want to live the way I'm living now. Martyrdom, as you've heard me say on previous episodes, it's overrated and underappreciated. Waiting for someone to pat you on the back and tell you what a great person you are, you're wasting your time. Not saying it's not going to happen, sis, but I tell you, that good feeling of someone saying, you did a great job, you're a great person, you're wonderful. It's a blessing and it feels good and you should embrace it. But unless you, I shouldn't say but. They always say when you say but, it negates everything before. I'll say, let me say it again. It's nothing wrong with embracing when someone tells you, thank you so much. You did a great job. We appreciate you. That's awesome. And it won't keep you filled. It's like eating a meal that will only last in your system for a little while. You have to fill yourself by knowing that you are doing what you do from a heart of service and that God knows what you're doing. And there's a warmth that comes, that fuzzy feeling when you know that you're walking in your calling, you're being of service and that you're helping someone. And that feeling, no one can take away from you. Even in the midst of when, quote, negative situations or people talk about you or they dog you, or as I said, they talk about you like you got a tail, or you're mistreated or you don't get that promotion that you wanted. Tap into your inner resilience. Tap into knowing that God loves you and he's created you for greatness. And your time will come. So you don't have to continually look back at what woulda, coulda, shoulda. Learn from the past, learn what happened well, okay? Pray to God, say, Lord, this is how I showed up well. This was the lesson I learned. Let's say you didn't show up the way you really wish you had showed up. Maybe you gave up too much of your power in that situation. And now you realize, I don't need to give up my power. I am who I am. Forgive yourself. As I said, if people talk about you, everybody's not going to like you. As my mom used to always say, if everybody likes you, you're not doing something. And I'm going to tell you, if everybody likes you, they're either lying to you or you're really not walking in your calling. Because if you're really walking in your calling, and I'm not talking about ordained ministry. I'm talking about being the best that you can be, that God has created you to be. If everybody likes you and nobody's trying to hate on you because of their own insecurities, you're really not pushing yourself to the limit. When you can continually fight to live in that warm, fuzzy place where you are being who God has created you to be, you're walking in your own light, you are embracing your resilience, you are kicking the feeling of overwhelm to the curb because, yes, you are wearing all the hats. You got a lot on your plate, yet you are living life with intention, on purpose, in your purpose. Then you don't have to look back. We're human. You are human. You're human and you're going to want to look back because you're curious. We're all curious. We want to look back and see what happened. What happened? We want to see if it's destroyed. We want to see, is it true what God told us was going to happen? So we want the evidence. But that's the difference of living in evidence and living in faith. And we all have to daily, all of us daily, have to continually pray upon it, pour into ourselves, be around the right people, do our own personal development, make sure we're listening and we're reading things that build us up so we can live life in intention, with intention, in faith and hope that God has shown us through his son, Jesus Christ. To walk in faith, to walk with a heart of hope and not in fear and guilt that makes us want to continually look back to where we used to be. I hope, sis, that you realize And if you haven't, I want you to realize it today that you're awesome. Yeah, you may have some battle scars, but those battle scars make you who you are. If you haven't gone through something, then how can you gain insight? How can you grow? How can you continue to unleash more and more of your resilience? How can you start thriving if you don't get provoked, if you don't stir it up? I got your back. You got this. Work on it day by day to kick the Lot's wife mindset of looking back to the curb. Call it out when it raises its head. Cause Satan tries to get busy and he'll try to whisper in your ear, well, you know what they said, you felt this way, blah, blah, blah. Especially if you're tired, or let's say something comes up and it's maybe you have something that happens, maybe in a little negative side, a little challenge or speed bump. Satan is a good one to try to make you look back and pile it all together to make it even worse, right? To magnify the situation. You got this. And I'm here for you to walk with you so that you can continually look forward and not backwards. So let's together kick the Lot's wife mindset. I love you. Share today's episode because I know there's some more sisters out there who could benefit from this. I am here. I want to grow a community of Christian women who wear all the hats so we together can not just survive, but thrive. So I'll see you next week on the next episode of the Overwhelmed to Resilient podcast. Love you. Take care. Be good to yourself. Be safe. Bye.